Hello, my name is Forbes Hewitt. Today I want to discuss something a little different, the idea of perception, particularly our perception on disability. Disability. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when thinking of the term? Is it a handicapped space outside your local food market? A person in a wheelchair? Subconsciously, most of our brains have been programmed to view these false perceptions and ultimately blanket the term disabled. Disability has an overall perception in society as being unable, and this binning seriously impacts the community and hinders their ability to achieve. How is this lopsided playing field of life engineered, and what can we do to fix it?
This presentation might be a little bit different, although the reason I'm taking this class also most likely is very different than the rest of my fellow educational peers. My career goals are to become a pediatric dentist who works to assist patients with special needs. At University of Buffalo, I take my biology classes, and during the summertime, I chose to take an education minor to begin to get that experience in working with disability. I do plan to show teaching steps to solve the issue in the classroom, although these steps are steps that I can take while working in a dental practice, volunteering at a tutoring center that I help in, or even shadowing teachers in the future to get experience working with students with a disability. I've tried to give a breakdown of some big picture topics. Keep these topics in mind as we navigate our way through the concept. I hope to not only lecture you, but help you bridge the ideas on your own. What does false perception have to do with equity? Breaking what box? And what is American culture's role in the issue? In order to understand, we must go back to the root of perception with disability. Charles Darwin, an English naturalist, geologist, and botanist, developed an evolutionary theory, phrasing it survival of the fittest. In this theory, Darwin explained natural selection, stating that species will either succeed, die, or adapt in the process of human nature. As our modern culture develops, the quote-unquote fittest have created a system that allows for them to succeed at the expense of others. Darwin's theory proved to be correct, as it is the science behind our lopsided structure that does not work for many individuals. The law of error can be rooted back to European cultures and was founded by French statistician Adolphe Quetelet. Quetelet developed this theory in effort to plot human error. We will further dissect this law later, although understand it's the birth of the norm. Adoption by the United States. Like many other things in our American culture, we blend our thoughts and ideas with other countries, including France. This mindset of human error plays a huge role in our society, and it seeks to support intolerance. This mindset of intolerance and the view of what is considered to be typical has spread like a virus in the way that we operate. Once again, this perception has been unconsciously programmed into all of us. Do you see it yet?
From the very moment of childhood, we follow these ways of thought. Everything about our culture revolves around a bar graph and our obsession to be average. We rank our intelligence, our cholesterol level, our weight, height, sex drive, bodily dimensions along some conceptual line from subnormal to above average. This way of thought hurts the disabled community, constantly picking out flaws and being intolerant of differences. Now that we have a bit more context to the issue, let's go back and piece it together. Going back to the law of error. La moyenne was once again founded by Adolphe Quetelet and used to graph error in human beings. This graphing at the time hurt the disabled French citizens and was a time of great discrimination. La moyenne has made its way to America, translated the average man. As shown in that previous quote, we do in fact graph our differences, and it causes us to bend in support of way of living that is openly allowing for the disabled community to suffer, giving them an unfair disadvantage.
Adolphe Quetelet was clearly setting out to exterminate difference in society, describing his law and referring to the abnormal individuals as contributing to the disease of the nation. This intolerance and blatant discrimination must be halted. Discrimination has been prominent, heavily targeting the disabled community much of the time with slurs. Not only are we consciously advocating for a system that works for the elite, but we are also blatantly bullying those who aren't quote-unquote neurotypical, with such terms as the R word. Campaigns like End the R word have been created to stop the misuse of the term, although it took a little hero, Rosa Marcelino, to halt the attacks. Rosa Marcelino is a child with Down syndrome who was suffering from harassment in the school when students were using the R word to attack her disability. Mother Nina Marcelino provided backing in creating Rosa's Law. Rosa's Law was passed, resulting in the removal of the outdated and often misused term mentally retarded and replacing it with the term intellectually. So, we have covered our secret obsession to shun differences, how it negatively affects and bends the disabled community, alternative uses for the word disability, and now are left with the question: how can we change the perception in the classroom? Obviously, this issue has been rooted for a long time in our culture and is much more complicated than 3 steps to success. Ending disparity is an ambitious goal, although we can take these steps to create a better tomorrow and begin to recorrect our falsehoods. 1. Redefining our idea of normal or quote-unquote typical is necessary, giving us the ability to begin to accept each other's differences and promote a more accepting society. 2. Perception is a difficult topic to change in people who have already had the idea built within them. Similar to you can't teach an old dog new tricks, we need to start with the youth. Educating our young generation on disability and giving them the power to make their own opinions on such issues will keep false perceptions from arising. 3. We must fight for equity for all. Equity is the idea of giving someone the appropriate amount of resources in order to be successful. Once we give the disabled community the resources needed, we can begin to watch individuals flourish and see that disabled truly does not mean unable. If we are able to bring equity, we are on the right track to promoting equality. Since we've been working on the concept of this project for a while now, when I read Mary Jade Haney in Breathing Spaces of Hope, I knew that it was something I had to incorporate. Something about her reasonings for being an educator was so natural and spoke to me. Haney's chapter in Nieto's Why We Teach Now was so inspirational that I chose to further investigate the book and actually used much of the literature for inspiration throughout the class and throughout this presentation in general. I think we can use her reasonings to better our classroom and break the box that has been placed around the term disabled. 1. Haney said she teaches to defy labels given to bright students who are outliers. In doing so, she included inviting participation in conversation, teaching with high expectations in order to promote confident growth in students, and of course, not labeling students with the same binning that they are given to the rest of society. Let them be an individual. 2nd, Haney teaches to educate herself so she can properly educate. I think that this is very important and goes a great way with the topic at hand. We must educate our students so that they can have the information to make their own opinions. This is how you end perception. She stated, teach to inform the future through reliving the past and supporting the present. We must support the bright future ahead of us while halting what does not work from the past. 3rd, I teach so that I will see my students in the future impact society in positive ways. If we effectively all advocate for change in the way that we perceive disability, we can make a difference. Teaching makes the difference, and I'll show you how. Making the difference won't be an easy feat. As educators, we have great responsibility to assist our students and give them an environment that safely encourages their learning. We must do our part to end the mindset, one classroom at a time. Disabled is not unabled. We can take steps by first educating our young minds on disability through things such as discussing disability, books on disability, introducing famous figures with disability and showing their impact on the world. For example, Stephen Hawking, the astounding theoretical physicist. Finally, education comes with answering those hard questions and giving students those resources. Hopefully, if we're able to do this, students can begin to make their own opinions on disability rather than following the hurtful, incorrect stereotypes. In our classrooms, we can support integration, which further assists both gen ed and students receiving special education services in getting to know each other and giving them a chance to interact. Integration in the classroom shows students that someone with a disability is the same as them, although they may just need alternative resources at times. Which brings us to equity. Teaching students that not everyone requires the same amount of resources, although someone may need extra resources to achieve, is still fair. Understanding this will help those receiving special education services feel more welcomed and understood in the classroom. And if we are able to attain equity, alter perceptions, and educate ourselves, maybe one day we can attain equality for the very abled, disabled community. I hope that this presentation has equipped all of you future educators with the tools needed in order to begin making an impact. There is no greater disability in our society than our improper treatment and way of thinking. I have great hope in what the future brings towards the issue, and remember, whenever faced with a hardship, all of your peers are fighting for the same goal. My name is Forbes Hewitt, and thank you for your time today. I hope we were able to both find the answer to America's secret obsession and find useful steps towards combating the issue at hand.